Hey guys, good morning. I'm meteorologist Craig Moeller here with you from the 13 News Now studios in Norfolk, Virginia. Kind of a special little additional weather stream we're doing here on 13 News Now Plus. You may also find this out on YouTube if we share it out there as well. I think we are. But at any rate, we need to talk about the tropics, and not because we're necessarily going to get hit with a tropical storm, but there is an area that we're watching that could take on some subtropical or tropical characteristics over the coming week, and it is not far from the southeast coastline right now. So we'll take a look here as we get into the tropical update, and let me start off by identifying the area that we're watching. Right now, there is an area, a cluster of showers and storms down around the Florida coast that is forecast to track to the north, may come in around the South Carolina coastline just as an area of rain. Could stay a little bit offshore, this unsettled weather, and over time, if it does stay closer to the coast or out over water, could take on those subtropical or tropical characteristics. Now, the chances for this are pretty low, only about 10% over the next couple of days, and then you look out over the next 10 days or 7 days as it moves off to the northeast. Again, if it does develop, there's a chance, but it would be offshore. I want to show you our kind of a couple models here. We're going to take a look at the European model, and I'll show you the GFS and how things are going to develop. We'll get back to the radar. We'll take a look at where the rain is heavier, and then we'll talk about some potential impacts for Hampton Roads as we head through the rest of this work week and towards our Harbor Fest weekend upcoming Friday into Saturday and Sunday. Let's take this full, and our director, Rob, is going to go ahead and show you that. What I want to do very quickly is transition over to the European model. Now, the Euro is going to show this moving along, and as you can see, still just kind of unsettled weather down around Florida. As we go through midday tomorrow, more rain is likely down around parts of, let's say, the coast of South Carolina, back over towards Georgia, right in this area. We'll look for some potentially heavier rain. As it continues to move off to the north, and you see it getting a little closer, we'll start to look for these isobars to kind of close off a little bit, okay? Right now, it's just kind of an area of low pressure, kind of a wave there moving up along. But you can see as we get into Thursday around noon, now we do have this area where it's starting to close up a little bit, just a sign that that low is getting a little bit stronger near the coast. Now for Norfolk, and I'll go ahead and move this map up a little bit so we get a closer look here, you'll notice the rain still down to the south. So again, this is not a problem for us through midday on Thursday with the rain south of the viewing area. But as we go later Thursday, you'll notice again, it comes back offshore, and that's that area of low pressure. Now, again, not very likely that this becomes a tropical storm at this point, but you can see how it looks a little bit like that low is deepening as it moves out over that warm coastal water. And then as we get offshore, Friday afternoon, you'll notice how that moisture, that deeper moisture, pulls offshore. This is the European model. And it's also significant to note with Harbor Fest, our Friday afternoon and evening still looking good. Now, there is this next line of wet weather that's associated with the frontal boundary that gets a little closer to us. You'll notice as we go later Friday evening, still good weather, good for the drone show. I'm feeling pretty good about that at Harbor Fest, that we're going to remain dry. But that area of low pressure, which is offshore, and I'll just go ahead to show you here what that, could potentially look like based on the European model, and that lower pressure would kind of be out here. Now, you'll notice how it's not a symmetrical system. This is not really a tropical system with this particular kind of playing out of this. You'll notice, again, the moisture all on the east side of this kind of wrapping around. If it was a true tropical system, it would start to wrap more around and you'd get a little more balance around this. At this point, that would be kind of just an area of low pressure, possibly a subtropical system, and then it would move on after that. So that low pressure would kind of slide off to the north and to the northeast. Again, Norfolk looking pretty good Saturday morning, and then as we go along, it would continue, that low would continue to slide off to the north. Now, this moisture that comes in from the west, this is actually out ahead of a frontal boundary that's going to kind of carve through. But Saturday afternoon and evening, this is my concern for Harborfest. We could have some rain. It looks like scattered showers and storms. And I will say this European model, this is depicting kind of deep moisture across the area. So we do have the chances for the scattered wet weather on Saturday. We will, of course, keep a close eye to that kind of coming through. Sunday looking a little bit better with this particular scenario as well as we dry it back out on Sunday. Just a chance for a few spotty showers later in the day. So Sunday not looking too bad, but Saturday evening and Saturday night would be wet with that boundary coming through. Now that's the European model. Let's come back here and talk to you about the GFS. This is the American model. So again, same area, looking at some moisture down, excuse me, down to the southeast coastline, South Carolina, Georgia. This is through 10 a.m. As we take it forward, you're going to see again the chances for that moisture to spread to the north. Again, just down to our south Thursday evening into Friday. We're still looking good. The GFS does bring a little more moisture up into our area, but that doesn't really develop the low very much at all. So again, at this point, we will keep an eye to both models, but neither one of them really spelling any trouble for Hampton Roads. There will be some impacts here, even with an area of low pressure, though, passing by offshore. Let's talk about these Atlantic storm names here, and I can come back on camera. I want to mention a couple things here. Andrea, the first named system. So if this were to become a tropical storm eventually, even if it happens well to the east of our area offshore and moving away, Andrea is the first name on the list. After that, we look at Barry and Chantal. Those are the next names. Dexter, the D name this year, is Taylor Stephenson. My colleague mentioned last night, she did a story on it, replaced Dorian. Dorian was retired in 2019, or following that development in 2019, when Dorian absolutely ripped through the Bahamas. It was one of the most devastating, well, it was the worst natural disaster in the Bahamas recorded history. It came in with the strongest winds recorded for an Atlantic landfalling system. They had sustained winds at Abaco Island. They had sustained winds of 185 miles per hour. You talk about a powerful storm. That's incredible. That 185 that they reached back in 2019 there at Abaco, that tied the previous record, which had been around since the 1935 Labor Day storm. So an incredibly powerful storm. Dorian, that name retired, 84 fatalities, a couple hundred, almost 200 to 300 more people missing from that system. They got rid of Dorian. It also cost the islands about $3.4 billion in damage. So a devastating blow. Dorian out, Dexter in. All right, that's our new D name for this year. Aaron, Fernand, Gabrielle, there's Umberto, Imelda, Jerry, Karen, Lorenzo, Melissa, and Nestor. Now, with a normal average hurricane season, you would get through these 14 names. 14 is the average number of name systems we have. Beyond that, the 15th name storm on the list, Olga, there's Pablo, there's Rebecca, Sebastian, Tanya, Van, and Wendy. There's another list of names if we burn through those names as well. Remember, they were doing the Greek alphabet with alpha, beta, gamma, delta. Well, we got into that Greek alphabet a couple times, and you realize you can't retire letters of the alphabet. You know, if we go to this auxiliary list quite a bit, they wanted to create a unique set of names. So they've done that, and we'll have that if we get past Wendy. Now, as far as the Eastern Pacific goes, we still have a system or an area out there that we're watching. And this one, which is a few hundred miles actually south of Mexico. You remember last week we were talking about Alvin, that system that developed, and it came up through the Baja and came around Cabo San Lucas, came up this way. That moved along, kind of formed in the same general area that we're looking at here. And the Hurricane Center, looking at the Eastern Pacific, believes this has a 50% chance for development over the coming week. So that has a better chance of developing. But the one that we're watching right now is, of course, the one off the southeast coast. So this area, again, needs to be monitored. Now, I do want to show you what's happening right now, and I'll take you down to Florida and the Keys and show you the radar here as we take a look. That's loading up. Down around Key Largo, some heavy tropical rain. It's down just north of Marathon and Key West. They've seen some pretty intense rainfall a little bit earlier, but right now that rain continues to fall. Miami, very wet this morning. When I was doing the weather desk, which we do each and every morning at 9 o'clock, or yeah, it's from 9 to 9:30. Had to think about that. When we did the weather desk, there were just some light showers around Miami. It's starting to fill in with some heavier rain. That's moderate to heavy rain. You look back out over parts of the islands there to the east of the Bahamas, you get into that, some of that heavier rain starting to develop out that way. And just offshore from Fort Pierce, we also have some heavier cells as well. Let me loop this for you so you get a look at what's happening here with the radar. You see how things are moving along. Again, nothing well organized. We're not looking at a very clear circulation, but we do have some of this heavier tropical rain developing down there. So we're going to continue to monitor this as this potentially comes together. Again, eventually the thinking is that it would move north along the South Carolina coast, maybe kind of straddling the South Carolina, North Carolina coastal areas, and then move off to the east. At this point, it doesn't look like a major hit to Hampton Roads, but there are some impacts here, and I want to talk to you about that. First of all, as we take a look at our beach conditions today, water temperatures right at Virginia Beach in the upper 60s. It's really not that warm. Remember, these tropical systems, in order to get better organized, they really need water temperatures of 80 degrees. That's kind of the threshold, or warmer. Those waters near the Florida coastline and along the southeast coast, along the Gulf Stream, very warm. We do have temperatures warm enough to support that, but our own coastal water is a little bit cooler. The other thing I want you to know is that our rip current threat is low. So today, a low rip current threat, the waves only, the surf height 1 to 2 feet. It's almost glassy out there. It's very, very flat. As we go over the coming days, and especially if we approach the weekend and we get that area of low pressure, even if it doesn't bring, strong winds or anything like that to us, if it's spinning offshore, we could see the surf heights building, and we could see potentially the rip current threat increasing by the end of the week or into the upcoming weekend. And this is a time of year now, we are into summer, where folks do come out and vacation here quite a bit. So the Virginia Beach rescue squads, folks here, the lifeguards monitoring everything, they'll be paying close attention to that, regardless of whether this thing becomes better organized or is just an area of low pressure offshore. That could impact the risk of rip currents. Again, UV index very high today. It is a sunny day, but we do have, again, that UV index, despite some smoke in the atmosphere, a little bit of haze out there, kind of veiling the sun at times. You'll get a sunburn pretty quickly, only about 20 minutes. Now, out on the water today in the bay and the ocean, no impacts at all. Nothing to be worried about in terms of anything strong developing, no areas of low pressure that are tightening up. We have high pressure in control. So today we've got light southwest winds, maybe shifting around to the southeast. We've been in that 5 to 10 knot range, occasionally up to 15, and the waves 1 to 2 feet. It's actually pretty good for paddleboarding today. We've seen that this morning. And again, out on the ocean waters, the sea's only 2 feet. So not a lot to work with right now. But again, that could change later on depending on how things play out. So if you're just now tuning in and you're wondering, maybe you got an alert on your phone saying that we were going to talk about this, I'll remind folks the National Hurricane Center has given this area down around Florida a 10% chance of development over the coming 7 days. And really over the next couple of days, we could see it. Let me jog this through again. This is the European model, and you see how it again brings up some of that moisture and increases it up around Georgia and South Carolina. It brings an area of low pressure kind of forming right here around Myrtle Beach. So in this case, it's kind of straddling the land. It's not going to take on a bunch of tropical characteristics when it's interacting with land. Systems weaken when they start to interact with land. But it kind of sits there. And if this does start to kick a little bit to the east and gets out over some of that water, it's a little bit warmer. You start to see where maybe that low could tighten up right here. And again, probably not a true tropical system, but maybe a hybrid or a subtropical system where we start to see maybe a little more circulation closing in, that low deepens a bit, and you've got some warm water here, again, off the coast. Very warm down off the Florida coast, but even warm through this area. So it's kind of borderline, something that we will watch, and then heading towards the weekend, that's when we see this thing kind of kicking farther to the east, maybe opening up that low a little bit, and as it moves off, again, the bulk of the moisture is staying out. This is Friday evening. And again, we'll talk about the HarborFest weekend for Hampton Roads coming up. But you can see how the moisture stays out there to the west and then, or to the east rather, and then moves off to the east-northeast, spinning offshore, but still sending some more wave action back. That's why I was mentioning that potential for some increased threat of rip currents heading into late Friday and Saturday. After that, it moves off. We've got another front dragging down through the area. You can see as we take a look here, that front kind of reaching down. Let me show you just quickly here on the map. I'll pull my kind of little pointer up here so you can see that that lower pressure kind of elongated back down through this area. Some of the moisture associated with the cold front coming through. That pushes through, giving us chances for showers and some thunderstorms Saturday evening. As we get in to early Sunday morning, we should wake up to drier conditions as that moisture clears the coast late Saturday and early Sunday. So things looking a little bit better for us for Sunday. All right, so that's what's happening with that little tropical system. Now, I mentioned the upcoming HarborFest weekend, and I do want to address that. As we take a look here at the HarborFest forecast, we do have that chance for a few isolated showers or storms, mainly to the south. Now, if the Euro is correct, it actually carries the moisture offshore and away, and this may be an even lower threat on Friday for our area. But I'll still mention, because we're still out 3 days or so, there's time for things to change. If the GFS, if the U.S. global model is correct, we could see that chance for rain extending up into North Carolina, right around the state line between Virginia and North Carolina. Isolated storms, mainly down to the south. I think for the Parade of Sail Friday, midday, right around noon, should be great. We're going to be streaming live right here on 13 News Now Plus through the afternoon on Friday between 1 and 4. I'm excited about that. We've got some great interviews lined up, a lot of fun stuff that we're going to take you from Town Point Park and HarborFest. It's going to be a great time. So that's going to happen Friday. Friday evening drone show. Weather looks pretty good right now. Saturday, that's when we've got our chance for late afternoon and evening thunderstorms. Fireworks set to go off Saturday night. That would be a bummer if they get rained out, but we'll see at least a chance for thunderstorms. My advice throughout daybreak this morning, and it will continue to be this way unless things really change up a lot, don't change your plans just yet. Just keep checking back for forecast updates. We'll keep you updated right here from 13 News Now. We do have that chance for afternoon scattered storms. Front comes through. We go from upper 80s to near 90, back into the lower 80s for Sunday. Still a chance for a few isolated storms on Sunday, but I don't see as much happening. And it's possible, depending on how the models play out, that we dry out on Sunday behind that front. That front comes through, triggers the showers and storms Saturday night. I think Sunday we may be in better shape. So that's a look ahead to HarborFest weekend. Into early next week, we will also see chances for showers and storms. All right. I hope you've enjoyed this streaming update. We're going to continue to do more of this as we go throughout the time that we have this summer. The hurricane season officially began Sunday. And with that, we are constantly monitoring the tropics and keeping folks updated. The reason I'm doing this live stream, again, it's a low risk, but a little shot here that we could see a little more development as we go over the next few days, a 10% chance. I'm going to go ahead and just very quickly check in with the National Hurricane Center while I leave this graphic up just to see if they have anything new out. The last thing out at 8 a.m., that was just this 10% chance that I'm showing you. So we'll be getting some more updates. Again, the Hurricane Center will have an update coming out in just a bit. You'll want to be sure and check back with Taylor Stephenson. She will have a full forecast update for you today at noon on 13 News Now. We will keep you updated on this and keep looking ahead to the upcoming weekend. So much going on around Hampton Roads, a lot of great stuff, and we hope that you'll be able to make the most of it where you are. As you know, 13 News Now will keep you updated with our weather impact alerts as necessary. If you haven't downloaded our 13 News Now mobile app, this is a great time to do it. You can search your App Store or Google Play, and you'll find 13 News Now. That mobile app, it's free, and you'll have access to our radars. You'll have access to our weather updates, push alerts, anything going on. So as we head through the hurricane season, you can count on 13 News Now for extended tropical weather coverage as we get you through the hurricane season. And hopefully it won't be too eventful, but you know, the official forecast from NOAA calling for a likely above average hurricane season. And of course, we're ready to go. Colorado State also calling for a slightly above average season. So we've got the staff here with the meteorologists with the experience ready to go. I've been doing this since 1997 right here in Hampton Roads. Evan Stewart's been around. I think he started about a year before I did here at the station as an intern, and then he eventually took on full-time employment here as well. Tim Pandagis has worked here for a long time, worked down in Houston as well, got some more coastal experience down there. And we've got Taylor Stephenson and Hunter Force, two younger Mets that have come in and done a phenomenal job and really picked up all of this. So we'll have you covered throughout the hurricane season. Keep checking back with 13 News Now. For now, that's going to do it. It's been a pleasure being with you. I'm meteorologist Craig Moeller. Have a good one.